Ladies and gentlemen, please greet the prosecutor and the Minister for Justice of the Federal Republic of Germany, Sabine Leutheusser-Schnarrenberger.
The death in prison of Sergei Magnitsky, a young Russian lawyer, remains one of the darkest scandals in the patchy history of Russia's criminal justice system. Sergei Magnitsky, who gave his life in fighting for justice for others, is our collective responsibility. He was tortured until he was no longer among the living. It is our responsibility to fight for real justice for Sergei Magnitsky, and this fight has only just begun. Sergei Magnitsky's aunt mentioned in the film that her nephew put his faith in the law, and that the law has always been his guide. This is true not only for Sergei, but also for all the lawyers who constantly fight for the rule of law. Bill Browder was the biggest foreign investor in Russia, and Sergei Magnitsky was his lawyer and he was his friend. Bill Browder started a global campaign to prevent the people responsible for Magnitsky's demise from entering the United States and the European Union, a campaign to introduce visa sanctions and freeze assets. One single man has campaigned relentlessly for the support of parliamentarians in furthering this cause. He has been transforming the face of justice on 2 continents and has kick-started a new form of accountability. The second Cinema for Peace Award for Justice goes to Bill Browder and the film Justice for Sergei by Hans Hermans and Martin Matt.
The Cinema for Peace Award for Justice goes to Justice for Sergei and the Global Justice Campaign for Sergei Magnitsky, initiated by Bill Browder.
Thank you very much. We're really extremely honored by this decision of the jury. And we would like to dedicate this award to Sergei and to his courageous family.
Because Sergei did what to most of us seems impossible. He paid the ultimate price. He was willing to sacrifice his life in order to obtain justice in his country. And that to us was an extreme example and will remain that forever. Thank you.
I'm Bill Browder, and Sergei was my lawyer. I was a businessman for most of my career, a businessman in Russia. And Sergei worked for me, and in working for me, he discovered the largest tax fraud in Russian history, which was committed by members of the Russian government. And unlike almost everybody else in Russia, he decided not to turn away, but instead decided to testify against the officials involved in this enormous crime. He testified in October of 2008, and 1 month later, he was arrested by the same officials he testified against. He was put in prison, he was tortured, and he was killed. He died at the age of 37, leaving a wife and 2 children. When I learned about his death on November 17, 2009, it was like a knife going through my heart. And I decided that I was going to devote my time, my energy, and my resources to making sure that the people who did this face justice. I've done a lot of things, and I've worked with a lot of different people, but one of the most resonant things that's happened in this whole campaign was this movie. This movie was distributed through the normal channels, but we also did one thing which was very unusual, which is we screened it at 10 different parliaments around the world at different times. And on the back of that, a very important piece of legislation has been put together by the US Senate called the Sergei Magnitsky Act, which will freeze assets and ban visas for the people who killed Sergei and the people who perpetrate other gross human rights abuses. We've done the same thing at the European Parliament, and we're working on the same thing at 9 other parliaments in Europe. And when we actually get this through, and I think we will get this through, it will be a new technology in fighting human rights abuses. Instead of people just condemning human rights abuses from afar, we're actually creating consequences for the people who do it. Cinema for Peace is all about making movies change the world. And this is one example where a small, simple documentary has and will change the world, and it will save lives in a lot of different places. I want to thank Jaakko and Cinema for Peace for supporting the Justice for Sergei initiative, and I'd like to thank the jury for awarding this award for the movie tonight. It means a lot to us, and it means a lot to Sergei's family. Thank you very much.
On the 16th of November 2009, a Russian lawyer died in a Moscow detention center under excruciating circumstances. Sergei Magnitsky uncovered the largest tax fraud in Russian history, committed by officials of the Russian government. Yet the whistleblower paid a price when the officials he testified against arrested him and sent him to pre-trial detention.
They put him in dungeon-like conditions, and they would turn off his hot water and flood it with sewage.
Despite all this, Magnitsky refused to withdraw his testimony against the corrupt government officials.
Он погиб, они его убили, можно сказать так, создав такие условия.
And this is the truth of the matter. And people who did it, they deserve punishment.
Instead, Russian tax money was systematically stolen by corrupt tax officials, police officers and organized criminals, and used to fund a life of unimaginable luxury.